digest. From lane to the new shining ground, echo chants where the legends are found. Heroes carved in the heart of time, we march on through grit and grime. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Oh Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire, this is my club, my only desire. Echoes of King and Greaves in the air. Every goal, the sound declares. Heartbeats pound like a drummer's song, marching forward, fierce and strong. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. High through the rain, through the fire. This is my club, my only desire. We're the ones who rise in the clash. Numbers running in a white shirt dash. History burns in the roaring crowd. Every game we scream it loud. I'm Tottenham, Tottenham till I die. Raise the banner, let it fly. Through the rain, through the fire. This is my club, my only desire.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Before the Whistle here on THFC TWD. If people are wondering where the hell Dermatron is, that's a great question. He's actually at White Hart Lane for today's match against Crystal Palace. He will be joining us live from the grounds, and of course, because we're pulling this dude, that means James is here with me this entire afternoon. Not only for Before the Whistle, but he's going to be joining me during the watch along and of course the final whistle. Good morning, James. How you doing?
Oh, I think Steve's just glitched out. Or have I glitched out?
No, looks like I'm here.
Sorry.
Can you
There
hear
we
me?
go.
There
Yep.
you go. Yep.
Good afternoon, Steve. How are you this morning?
Oh man.
Yeah, can you hear me? That's the more important
yeah,
thing.
I
Sorry
can,
about
yeah,
that. Just I'm
Yep, I can definitely
enjoying
hear you.
Before the Whistle, coming live from my back garden in beautiful sunshine in beautiful Yorkshire. I'm looking forward to this one. I've got my colours on. I am pumped for this game. It's going to be a good game.
Yes, I hope so. And before we get into everything Before the Whistle, remember to hit your like and subscribe buttons because we are in a race to 5K subscribers, and that is absolutely vastly important. Not only to subscribe, but also to like, because the more likes that we get for these videos, the more it helps the algorithm get this show in front of everybody, so we can actually be the #1 Irish Tottenham Hotspur podcast on the internet. But James, let's get into it because the lineups have been released, and there it is.
Yes.
Right there. Antonin Kinski back in goal for the first time since Vicario came back from injury. The back line of Pedro Porro, Kevin Danso, Ben Davis, and Jed Spence. A midfield three of Sarr, Gray, and Betancourt, which I actually happen to kind of like. And an attacking three of Kulusevski, Tell, and Odebear. I pretty much figured that Tell and Odebear would be up there. The surprise is a little bit of Kulusevski. Then again, I don't necessarily think I'm all that surprised.
No, I'm not. I'm not that surprised that Decky's in the starting 11. I think he becomes our creative outlet and our creative player, and we need that. And I think Tell will be leading the line today.
Yep.
Decky on the right, Odebear on the left.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite happy with that midfield three as well of Gray, Sarr, and Benton Kerr. I think that's quite a strong midfield. And Antonio Kinski in the starting in goal since I think in February against the FA Cup tie against Aston Villa was his last first team appearance. So looking forward to seeing him back in goal. I think he did well when he came in for the injured Vicario when we signed him back in January. I just think it's been unfortunate that the FA Cup run sort of ended when it did. I think that would have been sort of the games he could have probably played and would have been playing. So let's just jump into chat right quick. So Chamu Van der Vu.
Yep. I love that name, by the way.
Would have been would be enjoyed seeing more in the starting 11. Let's hope Benty doesn't get hurt or Porro. I mean, I would love to see Mikey Moore start, but I think if you play Mikey Moore, who's going to sit Ben as sort of like your creative midfielder, Ben? You could play Mikey Moore there, but I think he's more effective out wide. But I would expect to see him come on probably and get some minutes underneath his belt today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works because the bench today is going to be Vicario, Romero, Van de Ven, Basuma, Moore, Johnson, Son. Sonny makes the match day 11, Richarlison, and Solanke. And I think you and I both agree that Sonny is going to come on at some point in this match, whether that's going to be with 20 minutes left, 30 minutes left. He's going to get some run out there today. And that would probably leave Mikey Moore on the other wing, which I'm totally fine with. Mikey Moore has the ability to play both wings, and that gets in the second. Where it says David Clark said he's surprised that Odebear is getting a start when he had a tight hamstring last week. I would probably assume that Ange, that was already cleared. And that he's ready to go. But that being said, it's going to be interesting to see exactly if there's a flare up, if there's going to be a tight hook for Odebear. But that being said, I would probably assume that Mikey's probably going to get some run out there for Kulusevski a little bit later in the game. The question is, with only really one midfielder on the bench, which is going to be Yves Bissouma, how many minutes Archie Gray, Papsar, or Betancourt is going to get run in this one? Because I can't see Moore coming into the midfield. If anything, it's probably going to be Kulusevski dropping into the mid, and then Moore probably coming out on the right or something like that.
Or the only other way I could foresee it. I mean, I could probably see. Sarr and Gray didn't feature on Thursday night, so
correct.
I could probably see maybe Benton Kerr, although he's captain today, is probably going to get maybe a good half, maybe an hour, and then Biss coming in to close out the game, see the last 30 minutes or so. Just to give them some fresh legs there, and probably then you look at the same time, probably Bissouma comes on for Benton Kerr is probably when you'll see Son introduced and then Son takes the captaincy back from Benton Kerr. That's how I can envision it going in my head. Whether or not that actually happens is another question. But looking forward to this one. What do you think? What's you excited?
100% I'm excited. And this is, and this starting 11 actually does have some intrigue. I'm curious with Betancourt kind of playing that 10 position. Papstar is going to be a little bit more box to box with Gray kind of being the 6. So it almost feels like Sarr and Gray are probably going to be playing in that double pivot. The question is how much space is Betancourt going to be able to operate? Can he get forward consistently? And can he actually, end up being a little bit more of that creative 10? especially with Kulusevski outright. So that's what the intrigue is for me. The other piece is going to be Matisse Tell playing up top, and whether or not he's considering he's been playing out left for the majority of his time recently, whether or not he's going to be up to the task of being that primary 9 up top. There's a lot of intrigue with the starting 11, but that being said, I like it. Niall O'Connor says, big up, boys. Looking forward to the game. Good starting 11. Great to see Kinski out there. I would have to agree.
Yeah.
You gotta, we're at that point in the season where this makes complete sense, where now that we're in a final, you actually can give Vicario some rest. I don't know how you felt about Kinski, but I actually thought he did a pretty solid job coming over from the Czech Republic, getting thrown straight into the starting 11. I actually thought he did pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, to come to not only a new country, a new team in a new country, in a new league, and to be thrown in at the deep end in the Carabao Cup first leg against Liverpool, and he did really, really well. He played really well, and the games afterwards, he sort of showed what quality goalkeeper he's going to become, what he is, and what he's going to become, and the improvements that are going to be made on him. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's good to see him getting some minutes. I agree with what some of the comments are saying about giving Mikey Moore some more minutes. I agree. But we all know the league's done. We're just fighting for 3 or 4 places, and we just need to, I think, improve the squad minutes for some of the other players that are there, and let them sort of try and stake a claim for the Europa League squad final as well. So, but yeah, I'm excited by the starting 11. I think it's a good, strong starting 11. Not our strongest, of course, but it is a good, strong starting 11, capable of giving anybody a game.
What I liked about Kinski was, number one, that I think he showed his ceiling. I think he showed his youth, number one, but I also think he showed his ceiling as well too. There were a couple times in the second edition of the North London Derby where he was a little sketchy. There were some moments where there were some moments where it left there was answers left on the field. But that being said, I do believe he showed his ceiling, and you understand exactly what it's going to take for a keeper to get up to Premier League levels. That's the one thing I liked about Kinski, is that on top of playing well in certain moments, I don't think he was afraid to make mistakes. Those mistakes, yes, they cost us goals, but that being said, he never kept his head down. I think he showed the poise and maturity of what a keeper needs to be at the Premier League as well too. So I actually think he's one of our best goalkeeping prospects, and I'm curious to see how he develops under Vicario. Quickly, let's welcome Boris into the chat as well too. He's saying at least everyone is getting who they wanted in goal, getting some more game time. Gray isn't being thrown to the wolves as a 6 like he did at Liverpool. I actually was a fan of that, because you want to see him in those pressure situations. It's only going to make him better.
Yeah, but yes. I agree. I'd like to see him in that pressure situation, but it was, I think, the negativity that surrounded it afterwards was probably uncalled for. I don't think he did well for what he could do. I mean, he tried his best, and that's all that we can say. And he never gave up, and he never let his confidence level drop. He was still trying, and that's all we can all ask for. We all knew that Liverpool was going to be a hard game, and certainly with the rotation in the team that we had against Liverpool, we knew it was going to be a hard game. But I think this is going to be right up Grey Street, and I think we'll see a much more cool, calm, collected, and solid performance by Archie Gray today.
I would hope. I do like the style in which we're playing over the course of the last month. A far more pragmatic approach to the game, being far more comfortable in a counterattacking situation. So I would hope they're going to keep that today. Boris checks in and he says, as long as we keep Eze out of the group today, we will win this game.
Yeah.
I would like to welcome Tequila into the chat. I wanted to let you two know.
What's
that? He says I have Durham as my prisoner here in England. If you want him back, the ransom has to be paid. He accepts PayPal.
We'll just we'll just give you Dermo swear jar tequila, and that should just about cover it. That's astronomical sums of money in there. So, but yes,
I got to ask you this question. When I look at this bench and I only see Mikey Moore, I only see Basuma as the only midfielder on this bench as well too. Are you surprised that you didn't see some of the youngsters on this bench? Maybe like an Ajay or an Aloisi on this bench. Just to give a little bit more flexibility, but also more opportunities to youth. Again, this is all about the European final. This is all about Europa League at this point. Crystal Palace would be an opportunity at home in a low pressure situation to potentially give some more youth some minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised by the sub bench, to be fair, that so many of the players that played Thursday night and played a hard night on Thursday night are on the bench. I half expected the bench to be full of youth, to be fair, before the team sheet was released. I did feel like the bench was probably going to be full of youth. The back four, I was pretty much sort of thinking that it was going to be Davis and Danso in the centre, and probably Jed out on the left there. All right, depending on who we brought in. But it kind of shows that we do still struggle with a bit of lack of depth, squad depth in the wing back positions. Yes, we've got Porro. Yes, we've got Davis, but Davis is now more, I would say, because of his age and he hasn't got the legs and the speed, he is more of a central defender. So it kind of shows where we could think it. Yes, Archie Gray can fill in there, but you take Archie Gray as right back to give Porro rest, then who are you going to put in the middle of the park? So it is a bit of a juggling act with getting the team right and getting the balance right.
I thought this would. I also thought this would be an opportunity to get Reguilon and Timo Werner back into the team as well too. Granted, I understand they're not anywhere close to the first team, but when you look at wages and you look at how long they've been away, I don't know, man. It almost made sense that it would happen. That being said, it is what it is, right? I mean, I would just assume this could be a game where Reguilon can get at least 45 to 55 minutes at the left side, and even Timo Werner getting back into the attacking three at least for however many minutes late in the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I think with Timo Werner, I think Ange sort of, I hate to say, washed his hands of him.
No, that's exactly what he's done. That's exactly what he's done.
But that's exactly what he's done. I think when Werner had the opportunities that were presented to him, I mean, yes, he picked up a knock himself and he did pick up an injury himself. But before that, he wasn't delivering, and I think that's the reason why Ange sort of said, "Now, enough is enough.
You can't trust
you're going back to." Yeah, you're going back to your parent club, and that's enough. A bit of news about Timo Werner is I've heard that Fulham and West Brom are both looking at trying to sign him on a free transfer next season.
Well, that would by the way, Fulham would actually be a good landing spot when you think about it, and you think about Marco Silva. When you look at what Fulham is, it almost seems like Fulham is a spot where Premier League cast-offs end up going to stay into the Premier League, and Marco Silva gets the best out of those players. Look at what he's done with Emil Smith Rowe. Look at what he's done with Raul Jimenez, and turning those guys into absolute studs now. It wouldn't be a shocker if Timo Werner ended up at Fulham. I've also heard his name linked with Major League Soccer as well too. He's 29, which seems to be the age bracket in which that actually completely makes sense. He was linked with the New York Red Bulls. So yeah, there's definitely intrigue with Timo Werner, not just in England but in the United States as well too. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. David Clark says it here. Werner has played his
last game.
Werner's played his last game for Spurs. I agree, David. I don't think he'll play again. Barring a complete and utter catastrophic squad wipeout, I don't think he'll play again. I
wouldn't be surprised in the last Premier League match of the season.
Against Brighton.
Yeah, like maybe he might come back into the team sheet just for some minutes at the end of the game. Maybe we'll see. But David Clark also said, I think this signals that Ange wants to win this game, and it's not just a throwaway fixture. 100%.
Yeah. Agree.
And all you have to do is just look at the bench. It says everything.
It really does.
I want to welcome in Mile High Hotspur from Denver, Colorado. Good morning, Mile High Hotspur. It's good to see you. We have Wayne Bonner in the house. I gave up on Werner home at Newcastle in January. Lost cause. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and then David Clark says Fulham's the right place for Werner because he can smell the same as the River Thames in Fulham because they both stink. Okay, tell me how you really think. All right, that's good, man. That's good. But all right, enough about Timo Werner and me being his only fan left in Spurs Nation. It is what it is, man. Somebody's got to root for the guy, so why not let it be me? But that being said, all right, so let's take a step back here. All right. Yesterday we were talking about the importance of this match. And one of the things that I brought up was that what I ended up liking about the West Ham game is you saw the same determination as we saw in the second leg against Frankfurt. We saw it in both legs against Bodo Glimt. And it feels like in some aspects, this team has turned a corner. Now, granted, it might be a little too late for the Premier League. We still might be able to climb a few spots, but it certainly feels like this team has turned a corner when it comes to hustle, heart, grit, and actually playing and actually being a challenging force on that pitch, 50-50 balls, aerial duels, that type of thing. It looks like Spurs have kind of turned a corner, whereas what we saw against Wolves, what we saw against Nottingham Forest, it seems like potentially that might be in the past.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope we've turned that corner now. And the team, it's like we said for so many games, though, Steve. Is we need to get that winning mentality back. We start winning games, we start giving the hard work, we start hustling, we start playing well, and that then breeds the winning mentality of, okay, we've got a positive result, let's build on that positive result. We build on it, and we build on it, and we build on it, and then it just sort of starts coming forward. So I agree that I think that we are now in a position where the team have seen that the light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, yeah, we've lost Bergvall. Yes, we've lost Madders, and they're two big losses for us for the Europa League final. But it proves with how we played with Bissouma against Frankfurt and against Bodo in both legs, should I say, that it proves that we do have Bissouma is a good enough player to step in for Bergvall, and he can step up. So I think that I've given as much hate to Bissouma as much as probably most of the Spurs fans, because the reason why I put that hate on him, it's not because I dislike him as a football player or anything like that. It's purely because he looks lazy on the pitch. When he's working hard and he's giving his all, he looks like a different beast, and he looks like partnering Benton Kerr on both those games against Bodo Glimt. They never looked like threatening us. I think they were lucky to get their goal White Hart Lane. It was just a case of we switched off a little bit in the last 5 minutes. But again, when we went to their place, where they're going to rip us to pieces, our press will crumble, this, that and the other, they were going to tear us to shreds, and they were going to turn this result round because no one beats them at home on their pitch. And yet we did. Bissouma and Benton Kerr were just phenomenal again that night and that game. And we really, really showed the top draw Bissouma rather than the bottom draw Bissouma.
I like that Basuma over the course of his last 3 appearances. He has gotten better, and it looks like he has shaken off whatever rust from a lack of playing time that he had. My biggest problem with Basuma is exactly what the top end level of his game is. We've seen it, and he has fallen so far from that top level performance to a point where absolutely you're right. Every time he stepped on the pitch, it was laziness. It was a lack of focus, a lack of sharpness, being burnt 1v1, and then the retaliating yellow card because it almost feels like he was a petulant kid, having to get some get back for a lazy play in the midfield, or just allowing midfielders to blow right past him without any challenge, right? So they like, these were the things that absolutely upsetted me about Basuma. But then again, over the course of his last 3 appearances, he's gotten better and better and better. And whether or not he understands the gravity of the situation, because we're competing for a Europa League final, whether or not he's putting himself in the shop window, it is. I'm just happy to see it. And before we continue on, we got to welcome to the stage the man from White Hart Lane, the big Dermatron, live from the grounds.
How you doing, guys?
What's
How
up,
you doing, Dermo?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here at the stadium. Of course, I've got with me, of course, Mr. Brady.
Brady.
I'll tell you one thing. It's a cracking atmosphere. Lovely. Buzzing. Come on, you Spurs.
Excellent. So
what's the lineup? Give us the lineup.
Yeah, here's
Okay, so the lineup, Dermo, is Kinski in goal, Pedro Porro, Danso and Davis and Spence, Archie Gray, Benton Kerr, Pat Matassar, and a front 3 of Kulusevski, Tell and Odebear.
There you go. 5-0 coming, lads. 5-0. Look, I'm going to give you a little view of the ground now. So this is the ground.
Wow.
That looks nice, bud. Hey, Derma, let me ask you a question real quick. How was the atmosphere outside the stadium on the high road coming in?
I tell you what, guys, absolutely buzzing. I know I didn't end up going to the protest in the end. I wanted to go, but we weren't sure if it was on or not. So me and Philip came to the stadium, but it's buzzing. We're in the Europa League final, guys. We're on the road to Bilbao, and we're going to win it. And listen, thanks to you guys for doing this for me today, running the watch along before the whistle and final score. Do like and subscribe to these guys. They deserve it. Put a lot of hard shift in. And I know Column's working hard in the background as well.
Yep.
So big up to you, Colum, as well. But come on, you Spurs, we can do it today. We can beat the Eagles. I want some eagle pie with a bit of custard, with a bit of gravy, mashed potatoes, and all the vegetables. That's what I want today.
Hey, by the way, Derma, Wayne Bonner has checked in, and he says that Derma's already been on the booze. That's funny.
Oh, he's gone.
By the way, let's check in with Crystal Palace. Their starting 11 is going to be Henderson, Munoz, Richards, LaCroix, Gahey, Mitchell, Lerma, Hughes, Eze, Sarr, Mateta, and David Clark checks in, and he says that he's surprised that Crystal Palace has a strong attacking front, considering the FA Cup finals next weekend.
But I suppose they've still got a week of rest before the next game. It's not like they're playing midweek either. So I think they were always going to field a stronger team. Right. I think the reason why Angie's sort of rotating our players is he's just concerned about the injuries. He doesn't want to get any injuries and take anybody out of the game. I think that's the reason why we could expect the injuries, the teams that we're going to get. So it's going to be an interesting game.
I like the evolution of Crystal Palace over the course of the season. As you remember, they didn't start exactly off all that great. As a matter of fact, their first win came against us at at Selhurst. But as the season progressed, it felt like they kind of came into their own as a squad to a point where now they're in an FA Cup final. So congratulations to Crystal Palace playing in their first final in quite a long time. So
I tell you what, guys, right? I just did a video with talking to some Palace fans, right? That will be put up in the channel. And do you know what? I've talked to a few. They're really nice fans to talk to, wishing us well for Bilbao and all that. Wishing us well for Bilbao, and we wish them well for the cup final. But yeah, guys, they've been great. It's a great atmosphere here. It's like a big party, and the players are just coming out. So I'm just going to swing round for you guys. All right?
There they are. All right. Excellent. Ooh, I can't wait, man.
Here's the Palace players coming out now. Just give you that look as well, guys.
Yeah, it looks like, there they are. Palace players are coming out.
Yeah, they're coming out now, aren't they? Yeah.
That wonderful trip to Northern Norway, we are headed to Bilbao.
Right, guys, I'm going to let you carry on with the show. I'll catch on with you at final score. But come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs. Thank you, Derma. It's good that you checked in from the grounds this morning. And by the way,
Thanks, Dermo.
Wayne Bonner has
enjoy the game. Enjoy the game.
I will. Listen, I'll take some videos of the game, but I may check in with you at halftime, guys, to send us the link for the watch along, and I'll join you at halftime, giving my thoughts as well.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Come on, you Spurs. All right, so that was awesome. Thank you, Dermatron, for coming to us live from the grounds. And
he looks pumped up for it.
Oh, without a doubt. And I wanted to ask him what the atmosphere was outside the grounds coming up High Road to the stadium, because obviously there was supposed to be a protest today. I'm glad that Change for Tottenham did the right thing by canceling today's protest, because it kind of would have seemed a little tone deaf off the heels of getting to a Europa League final. So I'm glad they did that, James, because you don't it's understandable. I get it. I get their protest, but you also have to read the room a little bit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I mean, we talked about it a bit last night, didn't we, on the MLS watch along about the protests and things. I agree. It would have been. I understand why they're protesting. I understand that they want better for the club, but there is a right way and a wrong way to go about it. Yes. And I think if they'd have protested today, like you say, it would have fallen on deaf ears. It would have looked to me like that's a group of fans that are against the club, because we're not celebrating the success. We're trapping ourselves in the negativity. Then let's just celebrate the success. We all want change for the club. Of course we do. We want the club to be better, and we want to be better. But by protesting just off the back of that, you're keeping yourself in that negative mindset. Let's be happy that we got to the Europa League final. Let's get behind the lads 100%. And I agree, Boris. They would have lost support and would never have gained support of the fans what are on the fence. Exactly. I 100% agree with you there.
And again, I don't necessarily have a problem with a protest, especially if it's for a cause that you hold near and dear to your heart. And I know there's a lot of fans that want Tottenham Hotspur to get back to being just a football team, but you also have to understand that Tottenham is not the only team that prioritizes profit and revenue. Every single team in the Premier League does it. Every team in the United States, France, Italy, Germany, all these teams operate themselves like a corporate structure. And it just is what it is. I understand there's a lot of teams that a lot of fans that want to hang on to the past, but this is the new age of world football now, and it is what it is. But but also the idea that you're protesting $1 billion, essentially what amounts to is $1 billion franchise not spending enough money for players. I don't know, man. It is what it is. I just think there are better ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Like for instance, right? And I said this last night, that if you really want to protest, don't show up to the matches, right? Imagine having that Europa League semifinal leg against Bodo Glimt with only 100 fans in the stands. That's how you protest and make an embarrassment, make it a mockery on global TV where fans just don't show up. So you're not buying tickets, you're not buying merchandise, you're not buying concessions, you're not paying for parking, you're not you're taking profit away from the actual club. That's how you protest, and you send that direct message. But that being said, when you protest and you get thousands of fans marching to the stadium, and then you go into the stadium, you pay the admission to get into the stadium, it kind of defeats the purpose. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to move inside, Steve, because you keep glitching out a little bit.
Oh, whoa. Whoa.
There we go. Sorry about that. My apologies.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah,
Might be a little bit better.
My thing completely is like if you want to send a direct message that revenue and profits above football is bad for this, then just don't show up. Don't pay the admission costs. And the interesting thing about this is this happened in the United States last year. Fans of the Oakland A's had a reverse boycott where the A's played to an empty stadium, and the message was sent, and it made national news as well too. And that's how you get your protest across. You just don't show up. You don't pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
That's better. There we go.
Yep.
Just a bit better signal from the Wi-Fi in it, so
you
just it kept breaking up a little bit, and I was just like, I don't know if people are hearing me or anything, so I'm just going to plunk myself in the kitchen. Just so everybody is aware, my little boy has given us his prediction for today's game. He's going 3-1 to Spurs today.
3-1. Okay.
Yeah, he said, Dad, make sure you tell everybody my prediction. And I'm like, yeah, we'll do, no problem. I will stop. So everybody, that is Eli's prediction for today's game. He's going for 3-1 for Spurs, and I can see it happening.
So let's get into this real quick, and I'm glad that your son predicted 3-1. I like the confidence, by the way. That's excellent, by the way. What are your keys to victory today? What do Spurs have to get done immediately as soon as this ball kicks off? What are your expectations today?
We've got to be on the front foot. We can't afford to start slow. We've got to keep their attacking trio under wraps and keep it tight against them. Don't allow them to breathe. Don't allow them to get any confidence and a bit of space. And we hopefully at that point we will we'll be able to shut them down and shut them out. I think that's what we need to do. We just need to be confident in ourselves and confident in his ability that we are going to win this game. And that's what I want to see from the players.
Yeah, I would agree. But, my biggest thing is if we are playing a more pragmatic game, which I'm somewhat expecting, that I want to see a rock solid back, a back six. The two guys in the double pivot, they're gonna sit at top. I want to see the exact same thing, which is camping in the passing channels, making sure that Crystal cannot move within the midfield and just being able to have space where they can just pick apart our defense. That's what I do not want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see Danso and Davies continue to evolve as the center back pairing, making sure that tactically they're in the right spots, making sure that they're accountable for runners, because as we saw against West Ham, Davis unfortunately got caught ball watching on that goal, and so those are the things that I want to see eliminated from today's game. I want to see them being aggressive. Being able to step up and make a challenge, but most importantly on the counterattack, I want to see a commitment with numbers getting forward. You're absolutely right. Being on the front foot, taking advantage of their back three, and making sure that we do enough that we can spread apart their back line so we can actually get quality chances. Do I care if we have 15 shots on goal today? No, I'm perfectly fine with 6 shots on goal. But if we can take advantage of our chances, make sure they're make sure that they count. And I'm looking at Matisse Tell to be a disruptor on that back line, camping in channels and putting himself in good positions. So Pedro Porro actually has multiple targets that he can ping balls in, right? But also, if we're gonna play that style, I want to see both Danso and Davies pinging balls forward as well to take chances. We have some speed out there on the wings. Use it.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%, and I agree with that. We need to stretch them. That's what we need to do. We need to stretch them and make them play Spurs football rather than us playing Crystal Palace football. Make them chase us, not us chasing them. I agree. I think Matisse Tell needs a big game. A bit of news regarding Matisse Tell. It's not a secret, but we are interested in trying to sign him permanently. For what I'm hearing is that when Paratici takes up his the official post, because he's not officially been taken over because his ban doesn't officially end yet. But when Paratici's officially in position, he will be going to Bayern Munich and he will be renegotiating the terms of buying Matisse Tell.
Correct.
I'm hearing that they are going to try and use some of the money that Bayern Munich owe us from Harry Kane to reduce the fee even further. So, but I think they're looking at maybe sort of 20 million mark, and not completely negating the 30 million they owe us for Kane, but maybe around about 10, 15 million taking that off. So that would have basically equate to about a £35 million sale. With the 5 million that we paid them in the loan, that's 40 million they've got for a 20-year-old. And I think that's decent business. Business.
I would say so as well too. And welcome Peter Cahagias from Melbourne. It's 10:49 in Melbourne, Australia. So welcome, Peter. I will say that 65 million for Matisse Tell is absolutely highway robbery. And if we agreed to it, that would have been just a dreadful piece of business, considering that, yes, I think we look at the high side of Matisse Tell and say that there's a player there, but it's still raw. It's still undeveloped. And we don't know exactly where he's going, where his final position is going to be. Because if you remember, coming up through France and also in Bayern Munich, he was predominantly a 9. But he did play the wings, and he was actually pretty decent on the wings. But he's a primary 9. So what's going to be his position moving forward with Spurs, right? So we have to figure that out as well too. Where are we going to continue developing him? And because he's still developing a product, $65 million is just absolutely just that's a non-starter. Like at the high end, it's 30 million. Like for me, it's 30 million on the high end, but like realistically, it's like 2025.
Yeah. And I think that's what Paratici is looking to do. I think what he's realised is that Johan Lang and Scott Munn have basically allowed Spurs to be taken to the cleaners with regards to transfers, and I think that he's gonna put a stop to that, because I mean, you look at the deals that he did when he was in. You look at the money that we paid for someone like Dejan Kulusevski, and I know there's people who don't like Kulusevski in the chat, and look, everyone's entitled to an opinion. I just think when you look at Kulusevski as a player, and you say put a value on him, you're talking, if you're saying Matisse Tell is 50, 60 million, then you've got to say someone like Kulusevski with Premier League experience, international experience, you're going to be saying you're going to be talking 90 to 100, 110 million for it. Surely that's how the market works. Is you look at someone who's more developed, more experienced. David Clark saying if Spurs sign Tell, then we can forget Moore signing a new contract. And in my opinion, Moore isn't going to wait until he is 19 to break into the Spurs side, and I believe that Moore's ceilings. I agree, David. But could you not see a a front three of Tell playing as the central, more on the left, and Odeberg Kulusevski out on the right. Could you not see it like that? I think that Tell is a good option for us, and to dismiss him just because of one player, it kind of limits the squad size and reduces the ability of having two quality players that can play there. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think Tell and Moore are kind of in the same boat. They're both raw prospects still developing at this level, right? That's going to take a lot of time. But that being said, I do agree that Moore's ceiling is higher. But why can't both of these guys be in rotation, be in their squad rotation, where Mikey Moore will get starts, whether that's going to be in Europa, Champions League, whatever the case may be, and also competitions with the occasional Premier League. Where you know for a fact he's going to get his minutes, right? I think when you're developing young players, right, they always cap your minutes at a certain time frame, right? Whether that be 1,500 minutes for the season, whether it be whatever the case may be, right? So they're gonna have a preset set of minutes where you're gonna be able to pick and choose where you can deploy Mikey Moore. So he's still going to stay sharp. But that being said, I'm also worried about. Go ahead.
Wayne Bonner saying here, love Moore, but we need to rotate at times, and that, in my opinion, will help Moore's development and mentality. And Boris, pretty much exactly the same sort of sentiment. If Mikey Moore has personality, we all think he does, signing Tell won't stop him from pushing Tell harder and harder, forcing himself into that position over Tell. And that is what I'm thinking of, is that he, having two quality players there, they drive each other to be better.
Correct.
Right? If I'm not on my A-star game every week in, week out, I know I've got him over my shoulder that's going to take my spot. That is what I mean by having them both.
Yeah, and now that Mikey Moore is pushing 18 years old, there was also the possibility, especially if they bring in another winger this summer, to add to that right side of depth. That being said, Mikey Moore can also get first team minutes on a loan if they want to go that direction as well too, with the aim of not just 25-26, but 26-27, where he can come in and be ready to actually challenge for a starting position. There's different options that you can use with Mikey Moore. But James, we are 5 minutes away from kickoff, so we're going to sign off here. On
2:15 kickoff.
I thought it was 9:05. I thought it was 9:05.
No, I'm pretty sure I checked it this morning and it said 2:15 kickoff.
Okay. Okay. Well,
I'll just double check it. So I'm not. Yeah. I don't want to miss the start of the game.
My Peacock stream says 9:05, but yeah, you probably could be right. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, if that is the case, we can go for another 10 minutes. So let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah. 2:15 kickoffs. All the games that kick off normally kick off at 2:00. For some reason, they're kicking off at 2:15. I'm not sure if this is something to do with the VE celebrations, Victory in Europe celebrations that have been going off. So it may be that. Newcastle beating Chelsea 2-0, by the way, Steve, and very deep into added time at the end of that game. 2-0 Newcastle.
Good for Newcastle.
Let's see. Nicholas Jackson did get sent off in the 35th minute. But Newcastle were already 1-0 up. Tonali in the second minute, and Bruno Guimaraes in the 90th minute to make it 2-0, put that game outside of Chelsea. So yeah, I mean, good result for Newcastle. Good result for Newcastle.
Oh, 100%. And I'm not even remotely a Chelsea supporter. So it's good to see Newcastle get over on Chelsea this late in the season. So congratulations. I'm a big fan of Bruno Guimaraes. But that being said, specifically with Mikey Moore, I'm assuming that we're going to bring in another winger this summer. I think it would probably make sense to give Brendan Johnson some more, somebody to actually challenge from and raise his level as well too. And when you look at the left side of depth, I actually think there's actually quite a bit of depth on the left side where you can have ample rotation. and
Yeah.
especially if they use Sonny right next season as well too. I think the left side of the wing is going to be taken care of. Like, I don't know how you feel about it, but that being said, knowing that you have Tell coming back, and you have Wilson Odebear, and you have Sonny, you have three guys on the left who are equally prepared to get some playing time in the Premier League, cup runs, or European games as well too. And you also have Yangmin Huck, who is with QPR already on on loan. This actually might be a good opportunity to get Mikey Moore some first team minutes on loan. I know a lot of fans don't like the idea of sending him out on loan, but that being said, he's at that age where it's practical to send him out on loan, especially if they decide to bring in some outside talent as well too. I just think that instead of having him sit on the bench again for another season, me personally, I don't want to disrupt his development. So having him go out to a team that plays a similar style of attack as Tottenham Hotspur just might be a little bit more beneficial.
So I think you've got to get him at the correct level as well. I mean, I think somewhere like the Eredivisie, like we did with Troy Parrott, because I mean Troy Parrott has lit up the Eredivisie over the last 2 years, and there's talk of him coming back to the Premier League. There's clubs looking at him to bring him back to the Premier League, and the money that they're I forgot the team where he's gone now. I want to say Excelsior Rotterdam.
Oh no, he is with I think Troy Parrott is with AZ Alkmaar.
AZ Alkmaar, that was it. It was Rotterdam where he went on his loan.
Yep.
I had that still in my head.
Rotterdam, yep.
Yeah. So, but they're like quoting 30 million to any potential suitors, which would be nice if they sell him for 30 million, because we'll get a nice chunk of that because of the sell-on clause that we've got with it. But I think somewhere like the Eredivisie, that might be ideal for someone like Mikey Moore's development. I mean, I did see David's comment there, and he did say, sorry, but Spurs have had the worst season for many years, and Moore has still not been given a game. I agree. And do you think that's because Ange doesn't like him as a player, Steve, or do you think it's because he just doesn't think he's going to impact the game enough because of his tender age?
I think for a long periods of time, Ange was doing whatever he could to protect his job. He was going to go with guys that he felt like he could do a better job, that are a little bit more experienced, that can deliver a result. But that being said, as the season started slipping away, there were ample opportunities for Mikey Moore to get game minutes. That's the thing. It's I personally, that's exactly the way I feel. And now that this season is pretty much a wash for the Premier League, there's no excuse why you can't give him minutes. We saw him a little bit last week. I think he's going to play a role. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a start either against Aston Villa or Brighton. As the season winds down. But that being said, when we were dealing with our injury crisis, there were times where he could have played him. But that being said, I completely understand why he went in the direction that he went. It made sense because at the end of the day, if you're going to go down, if you're going to get sacked and you're going to go down, you're going to go down with your best 11 on the field and your best rotation. It is what it is, man. You have to put a lineup there that makes sense, that you can explain in job interviews in the summer.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. And I don't like it because I think he could have made a difference when we were in the injury crisis. And the games where we did see him come on and play, he was one of those players, very much like Lucas Bergvall, who was working incredibly hard. And I think that's what the youngsters do tend to bring. They want to work hard because they're not playing for contracts, but they're playing to try and break this first team. So if they're given a first team opportunity, they're going to play their heart out to try and break this first team squad and to break this first team. And I do think Ange missed a beat a few times by not playing more. We've said it in the watch along, and I've said it in the watch along. like I wish Mikey Moore was playing. I wish he was.
Yeah.
He wasn't even named in
Well,
the match day squad. So
I think there was a period where he had that virus, so he was out, and then he had picked up the knock. But then he was available for I believe he was available for the last couple of months now, and we're really starting to see Mikey Moore be ingrained in a little bit. But let me ask you a question real quick. Do you think that they split these prospects up? Because a guy like Archie Gray, who had ample minutes with Leeds last year, had a was ingrained to the first team, played a lot at the right back position last year, can play multiple positions, but he has first team experience. Same thing with Lucas Bergvall. Had his experience in the Swedish second division, but also these guys came with hefty price tags as well too. I think they put those kids in a different pot versus kids coming through the academy. I think there is, I do believe that because of the transfer tags that were applied with Bergvall and Gray, separate them a little bit than guys from the academy, where there's no rush, there's no pressure to play these young academy players. But that being said, over here with Gray and Bergvall, there is a need to play them because you have to justify the price tags a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, Bergvall wasn't astronomically expensive. I mean, what was he, 10, 12 million? I mean, Archie Gray was a bit different when you're talking 40 million plus for Archie Gray. But I think he's done incredibly well, Archie Gray, since coming. I mean, he's been asked to play in positions that he's not used to playing in as centre back, and he's not been given a lot of game time in what his natural position would be as a CDM. And he's filled in as right back for us, so he's sort of showing his versatility. And if anything, I think that the way he's played and being able to play as a centre back will help his mentality as a right back and as a central defensive midfielder, because you sort of start to understand if you're playing as a CDM, but you've got experience as playing as a central defender, you know what those defenders are going to be doing behind you without actually looking at them, because you know what you would do to them. This is a bit diverging on subject, but my manager did it with me. He played me when I was a young kid, and I was like under 13s, under 14s. I used to play predominantly as a striker. And I came back after summer, and he said to me, he says, "You know what, James, you know where you're going to play this year?" And I says, "Where?" He says, "I'm going to play you in goal." I'm like, "I'm not a goalkeeper. I'm too small. I don't know. I'm not a goalkeeper." He says, "No, but I'm going to play you in goalkeeper." And I'm like, "Why are you going to play me as a goalkeeper?" He says, "I will explain to you, but you are going to play as our goalkeeper. You're going to be my number one goalkeeper, and every game you will play in net." And I'm like, "Okay, but what about our goalkeeper? Don't worry about him." I'm like, "Okay, no problem. That's fine." I played in goal. And midway through the season, my manager came to me and says, "You know what?" He says, "You've done well enough in goalkeeper. I'm taking you out." I said, "I'm going to put you back up front." And I said, "What was the point? You've wasted half the season of me playing in the net." He went, "No, but now you know, when you have a ball and your back is to the goal, you're going to know where you would put yourself as a goalkeeper. You're going to know where you would position yourself. So you can put that ball where you know he's not going to be." And he did. I had actually the best season I ever had in front of goal.
Well, yeah, but
season.
But also playing as a goalkeeper, you know exactly how to look at the field through the eyes of a goalkeeper. So you're going to see your wingers. You're going to see your wingers bombing forward. So if you're going to take a goal kick, you're going to know where to put it in space. Same thing with same thing with up top. And so as playing as a predominant forward, having that knowledge, you know exactly where to run. You're gonna know how to put yourself in a exactly.
And that's why I see. I think although it's not been ideal for him to play as a right back as much as he had or a centre back, it's going to give him. It's giving him another string to his bow. It's giving him another tool in his tool belt. It's going to help him his development exponentially. But we are coming up to about 10 minutes from kickoff, Steve. So we will end it there if that's all right, and then we can get ourselves ready for the watch along. 62 people in the house watching us on this Before the Whistle. Absolutely amazing. Everybody, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe. Please come and join us in the watch along. Me and Steve will be back in about 10 minutes' time. bringing you
Yep.
everything that's going off game time. And Dermo said he might join us at half time. I think it depends how many more pints he gets inside.
That's I think you absolutely might be right on that. So I want to thank everybody for joining us before the whistle. Definitely join us on the watch along. Make sure you hit your like and subscribe buttons. But also head over to Stateside Footy and hit the like and subscribe button as well too. So do that. And we'll see you in just a few minutes. So James, are you fired up, my guy? Are you fired up?
Absolutely. Yes, I am. I'm ready for this. I reckon. Quickly, Steve, just before we go, what's your score prediction?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see. So your son went what, 3-1?
3-1. Yeah.
3-1. I'm gonna say 2-0 Spurs. Clean sheet on the day.
Nice. I'm going 3-0.
3-0. Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. So again, join us over on the watch along. Make sure you put your scores and predictions in the chat as well too. We're looking forward to seeing you guys because again, without you guys, man, this doesn't work. So I want to thank you. I want to send a big up to all those in the chat, all those that are listening. We will see you in about 10 minutes. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.